you said that one more time, I'm going to poke the shit out of you when I see you.
I can tell you, I also spoke to co-chairman of Disney, the boss, Jimmy Pitaro, who made it very, very clear we are taking this matter very seriously.
To no one's surprise, reports are coming out that Shannon Sharpe's career with Disney is over. For those who aren't aware, Disney owns pretty much everything.
Shannon Sharpe just got hit with a public smackdown no one saw coming. 1 minute he was ESPN's golden child, cashing $1 million checks, flashing that smooth media charm. Then out of nowhere, Disney and ESPN dropped him like a bad habit. His whole empire crashed overnight. But this wasn't just some messy drama. It was a total takedown. We're talking old legal skeletons, sealed settlements, and wild audio leaks blowing up all at once. Folks inside ESPN started turning on him, whispering behind doors. Disney bosses freaked out about their squeaky clean brand, and deals started vanishing like smoke. That empire he built, crumbling right beneath him, and Shannon, he wasn't even close to ready. Now instead of sitting down and taking the L, he's heated. Real quiet, real dangerous. Word is, he's cooking up some dirty revenge that could take half the network down with him. His legacy? Going up in flames? And he might just light the match himself. There's always been something about Shannon people couldn't put their finger on.
I can tell you, I also spoke to co-chairman of Disney, the boss, Jimmy Pitaro, who made it very, very clear we are taking this matter very seriously. And we are looking into this very, very closely. And once we gather as many facts as we possibly can.
Like we knew something was off, but no one dared speak on it. 'Cause it's Shannon Sharpe. Big name, big fame, black excellence on full display. Shannon Sharpe used to be the guy everybody wanted to root for. But let's not kid ourselves anymore. He might be a lot of things. But smart, that ain't always one of them. Especially outside the field. On the turf, sure, Shannon's a legend. He gave over 30 years to football and you can tell. Dude reads the game like a playbook tattooed on his brain. And once the cameras roll, he turns it on.
We will go from there. And that is all he said. And I can mention his name because I received his permission to say that. I don't know what that means.
During that undisputed run with Skip Bayless, Shannon was everywhere. His memes, they basically kept Black Twitter alive through the pandemic. So when that show wrapped, Stephen A. Smith swooping him up for First Take made perfect sense. That move was straight TV domination. Shannon had that rural black uncle energy on lock, cigar in hand, brown liquor, durag, the whole vibe. Some folks gave it the side eye, called it coon adjacent. But he had so much charisma, people let it slide.
In my perfect world, this equates to Jay-Z, where the case ultimately dropped and Shannon is allowed to continue on First Take and continue to thrive and shine. And not just that, and have an illustrious career in the podcast stratosphere doing Nightcap with Chad Ochocinco.
Especially after Club Shay blew up in 2024, thanks to that wild Cat Williams interview. That moment put Shannon on top. Everybody wanted a slice. And yeah, believe it. There was talk of a $100 million ESPN deal sitting right there, waiting for his signature. But just when he was finally sitting pretty, Shannon had to remind folks he moves reckless. Now, older men dating younger women ain't exactly rare. Sean Diddy Combs was almost 40 when he got with 19-year-old Cassie. Eddie Murphy's got enough kids to run a football team, and even he's with someone 20 years younger.
Doing Club Shay and ultimately gets this $100 million deal that he was all over the news about to sign just a couple of days before this report came out. In my perfect world, he moves on. And somehow, some way, we find this all to be false. But it doesn't.
But with Shannon, it hit different, and it hit hard. The age gap thing ain't new, but Shannon took it way too far. He was 54, messing with a 19-year-old. Even Leonardo DiCaprio would have side-eyed that like, you wildin'. But it didn't stop there. It got messier. Word is, Shannon got caught on tape telling the girl he'd choke her if she didn't shut up. Yeah, that kind of reckless talk, on record, come on. Whether she tricked him into saying it or not, the fact he said it at all just shows zero self-control.
It seems like that's the way things are about to go down, considering who Mr. Busby is and how emphatic his client is proclaiming that she is right and she's telling the truth. I don't know where this is going to go. I can't speak to anything else. I don't know who Shannon Sharpe's legal team.
And that ain't even the worst of it. There's talk of a whole sex tape floating around. And get this, no NDA in place to protect him. How you a grown man in your 50s, stacked with millions and still moving like you're pledging a frat? Let's not forget his Instagram drama last year. His private life spilled out all over the internet.
And what they're suggesting. I imagine that everything that has transpired has been at the behest of his lawyers, not just himself.
That should have been the moment to lawyer up, lock it down, and start making folks sign NDAs before they even walk in the room. But nah, Shannon kept slipping. Now it's all falling apart. ESPN ? Disney? They're not lifting a finger. It didn't even take 2 days before the whole situation went south. Sure, ESPN claims Shannon was stepping back for personal matters. But let's be real. Insiders were quick to say this break wasn't his idea at all. A source says there's buzz going around that Shannon Sharpe's days at ESPN might be done. I checked with someone close to ESPN's production team. They claim he's still showing up on First Take Mondays and Tuesdays, so the rest of the week, just scheduled days off.
This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine.
But fans weren't buying it. People in the comments were quick to call it, yeah, I think he's getting dropped. They backed him before when things got shaky. But this, whole different story. And a lot of folks agree. Guilty or not, Shannon's way too grown to keep landing in situations like this. Even Stephen A. Smith, the one who fought to bring Shannon on, had to come clean. He went on his podcast and admitted he personally reached out to Disney's top dog to talk things through. That's how serious it's gotten. Shannon knew what was up. This wasn't some vacation. It was a slow, silent push out the door before the NFL season started. They weren't protecting him, they were protecting the brand. Then boom, the lawsuit dropped, and it was a wrap. A 21-year-old woman hit Shannon with a $50 million civil suit, accusing him of assault, battery, and emotional distress. Shannon swore it was all consensual. His team rushed to say it was just BSM and claimed this was a setup, pointing fingers at Tony Busby, the same lawyer taking Diddy and Jay-Z to court. But none of that mattered. Not to Disney, and definitely not to the ESPN staff who started raising hell behind the scenes.
Usually, companies use a morality clause when they're hiring somebody or considering someone who's potentially going to represent the company in a public way. The purpose of a morality clause is to protect the brand at the end of the day. Everything has to come back to the bottom line, and they have to be able to know that what they put out there is reflective of the brand and what we call in the industry brand safe. Disney is widely known for being very strict and not playing around when it comes to the morality clauses that they put into their talents.
They called it out as straight-up hypocrisy. Women at the network had been fired for way less, and now they were watching Shannon get cover? It was obvious. He had to go. And that was just the tip of the mess. Once that lawsuit hit the spotlight, everything else came crashing out. Shannon's closet, stuffed to the brim with drama. Let's start with his type. Shannon's history of chasing super young, racially ambiguous women wasn't new, and folks didn't forget how he used to shade black women with class. That energy caught up to him fast.
Contracts.
But that's not even scratching the surface.
But the immediate reaction from Disney is a reflection of the court of public opinion and Shannon fighting for his life with his brand image. And we wouldn't be in this place if he hadn't established such a strong tie to having an affinity to assert his sexual dominance and preference on everyone else. We know too much about him, and it's now coming back to bite him.
And the clearest example? The way he embarrassed Yvonne Orji. Chad Ochocinco tried setting him up with Yvonne. She's gorgeous, successful, and proudly celibate. But Shannon, he wasn't trying to hear it, and he made it obvious. She was the kind of woman men always claim they're praying for. And Shannon? He didn't just pass. He laughed out loud on camera. It wasn't a joke. It was cold, loud, and disrespectful. That moment made it real clear. Shannon's ideal woman looked nothing like a black woman grounded in dignity and faith. And once folks online started piecing it all together, the pattern was too loud to ignore. Gabriela Zuniga, the woman suing him for $50 million, is young, white passing, and vulnerable. Exactly his usual type. But this time it wasn't just rumors. Gabriela hit back with serious claims. She said Shannon recorded her without consent, ignored safe words, and kept pushing boundaries even when she begged him to stop. And when she tried to leave, Shannon allegedly threw $10 million her way to buy her silence. She said no and went public. Shannon called it a shakedown, but by then, the damage was done. And those leaked audio clips made it worse. Shannon's team tried clapping back with receipts, old texts where Gabriela supposedly asked for rough role play, even abusive scenarios. But here's the catch. It doesn't matter if 99% was consensual. The second Gabriela said no and he allegedly kept going, that's it. Game over.
Big black guy, small white woman.
It's not a good look, Shannon.
Consent isn't a one-time pass. It's gotta be constant. Ignoring a no flips the whole situation into something else entirely. And Gabriela wasn't the only shadow from Shannon's past. More skeletons came stomping out. One report claimed Shannon had drama with a female production assistant back in his undisputed days with Skip Bayless. Word is, it ended in a quiet settlement, worth hundreds of thousands. Then there's the storm with his ex, Michelle Evans. In 2010, she filed a restraining order, accusing Shannon of assaulting her during a breakup over cheating. She claimed he forced her to her knees and violated her boundaries. And what happened after that? Shannon got quietly dropped from CBS Sports. Yep, he's been through this rodeo before. Now history's looking like it's on repeat. Michelle even sat down with Tasha K and spilled more tea, talking about his obsession with control, dark behavior behind closed doors, and a side of Shannon the public never got to see. And if you thought those Monique and Cat Williams episodes on Club Shay aged badly before, go watch them again. Monique literally sat across from Shannon, begging him to stop chasing young girls and find a grown woman who could love him for real. Cat? He was joking, but there was truth in it, warning how risky it is for black men to mess with young white women. And now, those moments hit different. Let's not pretend Disney and ESPN suddenly found a moral compass. They didn't drop Shannon out of principle. They did it because people inside the building started raising hell, especially the women. Insiders say the double standards were loud and clear. Female employees had been fired for way less, while Shannon kept getting covered, even with serious claims hanging over him. There was panic. Real talk of a possible class action lawsuit, the kind that makes headlines. Fear of bad press, and fear that a full-blown Me Too scandal was about to explode on their watch. Disney saw the smoke and didn't wait for the flames. Let's be real. Disney don't care about loyalty. They care about sponsors, shareholders, and keeping that family-friendly image on lock. Shannon turned into a liability overnight. Once female ESPN staff started speaking out, saying they got punished fast for stuff like standing too close to a politician during COVID, while Shannon stayed on the payroll with major accusations. Yeah, Disney saw the legal storm brewing. They knew a discrimination lawsuit was creeping around the corner, so they moved fast and cut ties. Now they're claiming Shannon's just stepping away till football season, but truth is, he's not coming back. And even if he did, the damage is permanent. That image, stained for good. He had the chance to be bigger than Stephen A., build his own sports media empire. Instead, he's out here trying to save face. And Stephen A., he's caught in the middle, looking like the messy middleman. He vouched for Shannon, told everyone First Take would break records. Now, he's scrambling to keep his own name clean. The mask is off, the internet's flooded with receipts, and every red flag folks ignored just got highlighted. Shannon was funny, viral, and relatable, but behind the memes and muscle tees was a man making wild choices, burning bridges, and messing with fire. Now the fire's finally caught up. Shannon really thought he was too loved, too polished, too big to fall. Thought the rules didn't apply. Thought he could chase 19-year-olds and mock black women's dignity without a price. Thought hush money and NDAs could keep the skeletons locked up. But karma, it don't cash checks. Everything he built is crashing, faster than he can post another thirst trap on Instagram. And if you think this is wild already, buckle up. Gabriela Zuniga's team ain't done yet. There's talk of more audio, more text, maybe even full-on videos ready to drop. And trust, it's not just Shannon who might go down. The next bombshell could take others with him. So don't miss what's next. Like, subscribe, drop a comment, and share this with somebody who needs the tea. And you already know, we'll see you on the next one.